Hey, so today we're going to talk about flowchart proofs. A flowchart proof is just a way to organize the information in a proof. So you're trying to explain how two things work. And you can kind of think of it as a flow. I'm going to draw a little stream here, right? Some water flowing. Okay, so you're trying to show how one thing leads to another. You usually use arrows, sometimes boxes, to represent how things are related. Your boxes and arrows might be nice and neat. They might be all over the place. It depends on the information you are representing. So let's look at a math example here. We'll look at proving the right angles congruence theorem, which tells us that all right angles are congruent, which is pretty obvious. But with a proof, the idea is to break down the reasoning of why something in math is true. So you can see here that a flowchart is given, walking you through one step to the next. I want to show you how that looks first in a two-column proof. So we're going to translate the flowchart you see into two columns and talk about the reasons and why they work, okay? So we are given by the problem that angle 1 and 2 are right angles. That's what it says. When we know that symbol, we know what it means. So in our proof, our first step is always going to be to record that given information. Then if we follow our flowchart, we see that our next bit of information is to explain what is a right angle. Okay, so what is the given? Well, angle 1 and angle 2 both equal 90 degrees, because that's what a right angle means. So now we're going to use the transitive property of equality to explain that angle 1 and angle 2 are going to equal one another. And our final step is going to be to explain because angle 1 and angle 2 are equal, that means they're congruent, because congruent angles have the same measurement. Let's go ahead and try another example. So we're going to take a look at proving the congruent supplements theorem. The proof is going to be given to us here in a two-column proof already. So I'm going to show you how to kind of take what you have in a two-column and turn it into a flowchart proof. The theorem tells us that if angle 1 and 2 are supplementary, so in other words, if angle 1 and 2 add up together to be 180, and then that if angle 3 and 2 are supplementary, so if angle 2 and 3 here would also add up to 180, then that's going to tell us that angle 1 and 3 are congruent. They're the same. So what we're going to do is take these statements and we're going to transfer them down to a flowchart proof, and we're also going to take our reasons and do the same. It's going to look like this. So we're going to transfer these statements, we're going to write our reasons below it, and then when we move between statement and statement, we're just going to draw arrows. You can draw cool, fun arrows. The example I'm going to show you has just boring, plain old arrows. But they do show you how one thing leads to another. So we started by saying angle 1 and 2 are supplementary and angle 3 and 2 are supplementary. But then we have to, in our proof, we're going to explain what that means. Because we can't really get from one point to another without slowing down and explaining. That's what this process is about. So we explain, and after you give a simple explanation, you can just say that's the definition of supplementary angles. Then we've explained what the transitive property of equality is. Then we can subtract from the transitive property equality. Wait, what? And yes, it's true. To get to this step, what you can do is actually mess with the property here, what you've written down in your proof, and you see if we subtract the measure of angle 2 from each side, we're left with a statement of the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. Pretty cool. So the last thing we're going to do is say, hey, this angle is congruent to this angle, and that's the definition of congruent angles. It gets kind of messy and confusing to do these kind of proofs. We just want to take it one step at a time. Remember, you can always rewatch this video, slow it down. You can watch the examples. This example is taken from your book. And so all of these things can help you understand how to complete this process.